And now to this. In Washington, House Republicans are opening a formal impeachment inquiry over President Biden's alleged involvement with his son Hunter's foreign business dealings.
This move comes as the administration continues to claim that President did nothing wrong. Mark Meredith is live at the White House with the latest. Hey, Mark.
Pete, Ainsley, and Brian, good morning to all three of you. You're right, a lot has changed in the last 24 hours. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy now supporting this congressional impeachment inquiry, which would allow Congress to launch a much more comprehensive investigation into the Biden administration.
We are committed to getting the answers for the American public. Nothing more, nothing less. We will go wherever the evidence takes us.
The investigation is going to be overseen by at least 3 top Republicans, including the leaders of the Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committee. Some Democrats arguing this morning that this is a waste of time or even mocking the process.
Oh, my gosh. It's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it.
The investigation is expected to focus on whether over the years either then Vice President Biden or President Biden abused his powers or financially gained from his son's overseas business deals. Federal prosecutors have accused Hunter of failing to pay taxes and lying on a gun application.
Mr. Hunter Biden was either selling influence or selling the appearance of influence. We know Mr. Hunter Biden, as a result of that, at best he's a sleazebag. At worst, he's a thief.
Lawmakers say they continue to interview federal agents who oversaw the case against the first son, with one FBI agent apparently telling Congress just last week that it moved unusually slow. And this morning, the White House is weighing in about what they think about all this coverage, writing to media outlets about what's happening in a memo obtained by Fox within the last hour and sent to media organizations, including here at Fox. The White House says it's time for the media to ramp up its scrutiny of House Republicans for opening an impeachment inquiry based on lies. And in this memo, the White House details what they say are several signs that this has not been motivated by facts, but instead by political beliefs and feelings from the former president. We do expect to hear the Republicans weigh in on all of these latest changes, including later this next hour on Fox and Friends, when you hear from Congressman Jim Jordan and Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Guys, back to you.
Hey, Mark, can you get your head around exactly what changes now that they're doing the inquiry without a House vote?
I think what's going to change here is the timeline. Now, obviously, there's going to be this pressure to have either a report compiled or for these different congressional committees to take specific actions. Which committee is going to handle the finance aspect? Which committee is going to handle how the Department of Justice was moving forward? Kind of splits it up and moves these congressional inquiries into a specific timeline. But you're right, Brian. The big question here is how quickly will all of this get done? You've got the Iowa caucuses around the corner, 4 months away from now. You've still got a government funding showdown underway. So all of this is going to be happening at the same time. And then to the White House, as they're saying, Brian, they're saying that this is simply a waste of time.
Mark Meredith, thank you. You saw that memo that went out to the press. We're going to get a copy of that.
It's unbelievable.
It's our marching orders, Brian. You better follow them. This is what
He's telling the press to look into this.
And it says time to ramp up your scrutiny of the Republicans in their process. When will the media ramp up their scrutiny of Joe, of Hunter, of these payments, of these associations, of the whistleblowers, of the 1023s, of the WhatsApp messages, of the bank exchanges? We only know of most of this because of the House Republicans for a year and a half. What if the media actually examined it, too?
And these Republicans are saying, Nancy Mace, you quoted her in the last hour, if you could see what we have seen, you would think that there needs to be an impeachment inquiry, too, because there's so much that they're not able to share with us that will come out eventually. Why are they doing this?
Activity reports,
exactly, the SARS reports. Yes. There are so many of those. The Treasury Department has 150 transactions that were flagged as suspicious activity from the Biden family. 20 million in payments were directed to the Biden family members and associates through shell companies, according to bank records. The president lied to the American public. You heard that when Peter Doocy asked him if he was involved or knew about if he ever talked to his son about his business dealings. Well, then we see pictures later on of him on the golf course with Devin Archer and other people that worked on these boards with Hunter Biden. Then we know that he goes over to Russia and or to Ukraine, and he says, if you don't fire this prosecutor, I'm not giving you American tax dollars. And then they fired the prosecutor. His son's on the board. The board's paying him millions of dollars to be on that board, and he has no experience. The family has been offered special treatment by the Biden administration, and their allegations of abuse of power and obstruction obstruction and corruption. And this is giving the committees the full power to gather all the facts and give us all, the American public, some answers.
CNN did a poll. They asked the people, what do you think about this whole investigation? 61% believe the president was involved in his son's business dealings. 42% believe he did something illegal. And that's without this inquiry.
And that's why it's pretty significant. Brian, you brought it to my attention this morning. David Ignatius, prominent columnist for the Washington Post, who is very friendly to Joe Biden and Democrats and uses a lot of words in his column today to say good things about Joe Biden, but then at the end says Joe Biden should not run for re-election in 2024.
And Kamala isn't the answer either.
And Kamala is not the answer either.
The Washington Post editorial and says, bow out. We only have a couple of months to get somebody else.
A lot of Democrats are saying that. 77% of adults think Biden's too old to effectively serve for 4 more years. That's according to the AP, is it NORC, N-O-R-C poll?
Yeah. We're going to talk to Jim Jordan later. We're going to ask him, without that full House vote to create this impeachment inquiry, what impact does it have on their ability to subpoena, call witnesses, get evidence? That's going to be crucial to putting even more meat on the bone for this.
So,
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
and I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.